If I asked you to walk outside right now and just hand half your paycheck to a complete stranger on the street, you'd probably call me crazy. But neurologically speaking, when you try to put money away for your own retirement, your brain actually thinks you're doing exactly that.
Yes, it's a massive biological hurdle. We're constantly fighting our own evolutionary wiring when it comes to building long-term wealth, which is honestly why manual saving fails so often.
Right, which brings us to the source material for today's deep dive. We're looking at what might be the most effective and, I mean, honestly, the most deceptive blueprint for bypassing that flaw.
Deceptive in a good way.
Exactly. I say deceptive because this incredibly dense behavioral economics masterclass is totally hidden inside a whimsical, highly stylized fable about an ape.
The format is just a brilliant Trojan horse. It uses this absurd narrative to completely disarm you. You don't even realize you're getting a rigorous breakdown of wealth-building systems and behavioral psychology until the concepts are already planted in your head.
So to understand how this works, you really have to picture the visual we're working with here. The central character is DrMonkeyMan.
Right.
And the artwork presents this very intense, just badass ape. He has these glowing red eyes.
Which gives off a slightly terrifying, hyper-focused energy.
Yeah, totally. And a perfectly groomed, bright blue beard. He's wearing this sharp blue-collared jacket, almost like a duster, and a wide-brimmed blue hat with an intricate mystical crest on it.
The aesthetic is very specific. He looks powerful, entirely self-assured, and highly capable.
He's leaning forward, resting his hand down, looking exactly like a steampunk gunslinger or a mad inventor. And the background is this hazy, purplish atmosphere with faint silhouettes of giant trees and glowing mushrooms.
It really sets a mood.
Right. And at the bottom, in highly stylized text, it simply reads, DrMonkeyMan.
The author is establishing high status immediately. Like, this is not a bumbling protagonist. This is a character who has completely mastered his domain.
He absolutely has. I mean, our setting is the prosperity jungle, which is a bustling metropolis where vines function as literal highways and coconuts are traded as the currency of gossip.
I love the coconuts detail.
It's great. And DrMonkeyMan is a living legend here. He's a prolific inventor. We're talking about drone pollinators, talking bananas, and a telescope that can predict the exact moment a piece of fruit will ripen.
Which is what makes his central conflict so fascinating.
Oh, exactly.
The author purposefully chose an undisputed high-status genius to be the one failing at basic personal finance.
Right.
It tells us right out of the gate that struggling with money management is not a failure of intelligence. A character can literally predict the future of a piece of fruit using advanced optics, but he cannot manage his own wallet. It separates intellect from financial discipline.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because DrMonkeyMan has a fatal flaw that is painfully relatable. Every single month, his massive salary vanishes, as the story puts it, faster than sunlight in a storm.
He's trapped in the classic payday cycle.
Right. Payday hits. There's a massive rush of excitement, followed by impulsive splurging, which quickly morphs into this rising sense of panic and finally settles into deep regret as he stares at an empty banana wallet.
It's the emotional roller coaster of consumerism.
Yeah.
And when intellect fails to solve a systemic problem, you really have to seek an outside perspective. Which is why MonkeyMan goes looking for answers and finds Meerkat Maven.
Maven is known as the kingdom's financial alchemist. When MonkeyMan tracks her down, she's sitting calmly, sipping golden tea and socializing with squirrels. She previously helped achieve financial independence.
Right, the success stories.
Yeah, MonkeyMan explains his plight, that his money just keeps disappearing into thin air.
What's fascinating here is how Maven completely reframes his reality.
She doesn't just hand him a budgeting spreadsheet, right?
Exactly. She doesn't give him a spreadsheet. She gives him a profound diagnosis. She tells him, "Doctor, your money doesn't disappear. You simply send it 30 days into the past."
Wow. That concept completely stops you in your tracks, sending money into the past.
It completely redefines what it means to be broke. She explains that every single month, he's using today's salary to pay for yesterday's decisions.
Right.
When you're caught in a cycle of debt, or you're retroactively paying off credit cards for a dinner you ate 3 weeks ago, or clothes you don't even wear anymore, you are literally funding the past. You're trapping your current finite resources in a timeline that has already concluded.
You're dragging dead weight forward.
Yeah.
It's like working a 40-hour week today just to fund a version of you from last month who wanted a momentary dopamine hit.
Precisely. And to explain the mechanics of why this happens to a genius, Maven hands him a parchment detailing the law of financial gravity.
Right, the law states expenses grow to fill all available money unless you protect the future first.
In behavioral economics, we call this Parkinson's law applied to personal finance. It's basically lifestyle creep.
Mm-hmm.
If your income increases, your baseline desires and perceived needs will automatically expand to consume that new income.
So if gravity is the force pulling the money out of your pocket, you need an equally powerful system to escape it.
Exactly.
I do have to push back on her specific prescription, though. She tells him to build a salary time machine to transport his income into the future. But she mandates that he save 40 to 50% of his income before spending a single dime.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Right. I mean, for a guy who is currently saving zero, cutting his take-home pay in half sounds impossibly extreme.
Well, the 50% figure operates as like fable-level exaggeration just to make the math clear, but the underlying mechanism of artificial constraint is entirely sound.
Yeah.
If the money is sitting in your primary checking account, available to be seen and touched, financial gravity will claim it. You have to remove the capital from the environment entirely.
It makes me think of eating at a buffet. If you walk into a buffet and grab a massive, oversized plate, human nature dictates you're going to fill it up.
Oh, absolutely.
You'll scoop food until it hits the edges, regardless of how hungry you actually are. Maven is essentially telling him, stop walking around the buffet with a giant plate. Use a tiny dessert plate for your daily expenses.
That's a great way to look at it.
Right, because if you only have a dessert plate, you can only fit so much on it. The rest of the food, or the rest of your money, remains untouched in the kitchen.
That is a perfect visualization of choice architecture. You're intentionally designing your environment to limit your capacity to consume. Maven is telling him to shrink the plate before he even walks into the dining room.
So MonkeyMan, being a steampunk inventor, takes this theoretical advice and makes it aggressively literal.
Of course he does.
He races back to his lab. The text describes gears whirring, lights blinking, and welding noises echoing across the jungle for 3 sleepless nights. And finally, he unveils the Salary Time Machine 1.0.
This is the crucial pivot from theory to execution. Knowing about financial gravity isn't enough. You have to build a system to defy it.
So the machine attaches directly to his salary account. The very second his paycheck hits, the machine automatically tunnels half of it into an investment dimension.
Which the story describes as stocks, mutual vines, and compound fruit farms.
Exactly. And the remaining half flows into his daily wallet with a gentle, subtle hum. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Because the moment he implements this life-changing system, he encounters immense social pushback.
Right, his friends completely mock him.
Yeah, Parrot Polly laughs in his face, claiming that with half his salary gone instantly, he's going to starve.
It's the coconuts as the currency of gossip. If you aren't visibly throwing your wealth around, the jungle assumes you're failing. This raises an important question about friction. We often talk about mechanical friction in saving money. You know, filling out forms, logging into bank accounts.
Right, the annoying stuff.
Yeah, but Parrot Polly represents social friction. We live in a society that prioritizes conspicuous consumption. We evolved to signal our status to the tribe. If you aren't spending money where the tribe can see it, you face a social penalty.
MonkeyMan's response is great, though. He just smiles at the parrot and says, maybe today. But in a few months, I'll dine like a king, and my future self will thank me.
Notice how he doesn't try to convince the parrot or argue about his daily budget. He just relies on the machine.
Because it's fully automated.
Right. By fully automating the process, he removes the need for daily willpower. In psychology, there's a concept called ego depletion. It suggests that willpower is a finite resource.
Like a battery.
Exactly. If you spend all day making tough decisions at work, navigating social friction, and resisting temptations, your willpower tank is completely empty by the evening.
So if you have to manually log in and transfer money to savings at the end of a long day, you simply won't do it.
Automation's infinite. Willpower is not.
That maps perfectly onto how I finally trained myself to wake up early. I used to keep my phone right on my nightstand.
Oh, that's dangerous.
So dangerous. And the alarm went off at 6 a.m. My willpower was absolute zero, so I would just smash the snooze button in my sleep. I had to build a behavioral machine.
What did you do?
I started plugging my phone in all the way across the bedroom. Now, when the alarm goes off, I'm forced to physically throw off the covers, walk across the cold floor, and turn it off. I built a system that completely removes the choice from present me.
Because present you desperately wants to sleep.
Exactly. But the environment forces me to act in the interest of future me, who wants to get to the gym.
You basically decoupled the action from the emotion of the moment. You recognize that your present self could not be trusted in a moment of temptation, so you structurally bound your own hands. That is exactly what MonkeyMan's machine does with his salary.
But a financial system is really only theoretical until it survives a crisis, right? Anyone can look like a genius when the vines are fruitful and the markets are going up.
Very true.
The fable takes this automated machine and puts it through the ultimate stress test.
Which is a necessary narrative step. A system that only works in a bull market is not a wealth-building system. It's a gambling strategy.
Right. So 6 months after MonkeyMan builds his machine, disaster strikes the prosperity jungle. A massive fruit fly plague descends, completely destroying all the trade routes.
Wow.
Yeah, the entire jungle economy stalls. Salaries drop, markets shake, and sheer panic grips the society. Everyone is scrambling, desperately trying to borrow nuts and berries just to survive the week.
The author is clearly allegorizing a severe economic recession or a sudden market crash here.
Exactly. And during all of this chaos, we look over at MonkeyMan. The very guy that Parrot Polly said was going to starve is completely calm. While everyone else is governed by panic, his investment dimension is just humming along, thriving on automatically compounding energy.
There is a critical financial mechanism hidden in this scene. The text explicitly notes that MonkeyMan didn't just survive the fruit fly plague. He actually invested more at lower prices.
I want to dig into that because how does a blind automated machine know to invest more during a crisis?
It's a strategy called dollar cost averaging. Because his machine tunnels a fixed amount of money into the investment dimension every single month, the math just works in his favor when prices crash.
How so?
Let's say he automatically invests 100 coconuts a month. When the market is high, a mutual vine share costs 10 coconuts, so his machine buys 10 shares. But when the fruit fly plague hits and the market crashes, a share drops to 5 coconuts.
Oh, I see.
Right? His machine is still blindly investing that same 100 coconuts, but now it buys 20 shares. It automatically acquires more assets precisely when they are on clearance.
So the crisis actually accelerates his long-term wealth because he's scooping up cheap assets without having to make a conscious decision.
And the lack of a conscious decision is the real superpower. When human beings see their portfolio drop by 30%, the amygdala, the brain's fear center, completely hijacks our logic.
We just panic.
We experience loss aversion. Psychological studies show that the pain of losing money is felt roughly twice as intensely as the joy of gaining that exact same amount.
Wow, twice as intensely.
Yes. Left to our own devices during crash, we will stop investing and hoard cash. Or worse, panic sell at the absolute bottom. MonkeyMan's machine feels no fear. It bypasses the amygdala completely.
It protects him from his own biological panic response. And the rest of the jungle definitely takes notice when the economy eventually recovers. The story shifts here from a personal victory into a massive cultural shift.
Right.
MonkeyMan goes from being the eccentric outcast to the absolute envy of the metropolis. Newspapers run this massive headline, MonkeyMan's mysterious machine makes magic money.
Notice how the media frames it, though. They call it magic money. Society always wants to focus on the flashy result, completely ignoring the boring, disciplined mechanics that actually created it.
Classic. So King Lion, who represents the peak of the jungle's traditional hierarchy, invites MonkeyMan to the Grand Palace. It's this massive media event.
Everyone's there.
Right. Reporters are there, influencers are there, and the author even includes Tick Tick Bird, which is the jungle's viral app mascot.
Which is a really clever way to update the fable for a modern audience, showing how financial information or misinformation spreads today.
Oh, definitely. So King Lion stands in front of this massive crowd and asks the golden question. How did you make your fortune in a crisis?
The big moment.
This is the big reveal. MonkeyMan just grins, flips the switch on his glowing machine, and drops the reality check. He tells the crowd, this doesn't make money, it protects money. It sends half of my salary to future me before current me can mess it up.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, MonkeyMan has just articulated one of the most difficult concepts in behavioral psychology.
Which is?
The decoupling of your present self from your future self.
How does that decoupling actually work in the brain, though?
There are these fascinating fMRI studies where neuroscientists scan people's brain while asking them to think about different subjects. When you think about yourself, your current desires, your current hunger, your current stress, a specific region called the medial prefrontal cortex lights up. But when researchers ask subjects to think about themselves 10, 20, or 30 years in the future, that part of the brain actually powers down.
Really?
Yeah. Instead, the brain activity looks identical to when the subject is thinking about a complete stranger.
Wow, that explains so much. We literally view our future selves as strangers.
Exactly.
It's why present me has absolutely no problem eating an entire large pizza at midnight, because tomorrow me is the guy who has to deal with the inevitable stomachache. And neurologically speaking, I don't know that guy. I don't care about his problems.
That is exactly the mechanism. Asking present you to manually save money for future feels like being asked to give your hard-earned money to a random person on the street. It registers as a loss.
Because you're depriving your current self of a tangible reward for the benefit of someone you don't even know.
Precisely. MonkeyMan's framework bridges that empathy gap. By giving future me a distinct identity and treating him as an entity that actively needs protection from the destructive habits of current me, he creates a real sense of obligation.
He transforms future me from an abstract concept into a real person that he's actually responsible for.
Yes.
And this framework completely resonates with the jungle. The crowd goes wild. Tick Tick Bird records this speech and posts it with the caption, "Don't let present you bankrupt future you, #salary time machine."
He takes a dense neurological workaround and makes it digestible and totally viral.
Within days, the entire culture of the prosperity jungle changes. Everyone starts splitting their salaries automatically. The vines are flooded with these great memes. Invest before you rest. Your salary isn't yours till future. You gets his share.
Those are catchy.
And the one that really stuck with me, half for today, half for tomorrow. No banana drama ever.
Banana drama is such a highly accurate term for the ambient anxiety of financial insecurity.
So what does this all mean? I want you, the person listening to this right now, to really evaluate that. How does banana drama manifest in your own real-world financial life?
It's a great question to ask.
Is it the low-level dread you feel when you have to open a credit card statement? Is it that tight, suffocating feeling in your chest when your car's check engine light comes on and you know you don't have the cash buffer to fix it? That drama, that constant vulnerability to every little breeze that blows through the jungle is exactly what MonkeyMan engineered out of his life.
Because it is the exhausting reality of living entirely in the present. When you have no automated safety net, you are forced to react to life rather than navigate it.
Which brings us to the epilogue of the fable. We cut to months, maybe years later. MonkeyMan is standing on the balcony of his lab. The sunset is casting this golden light, and he's calmly sipping a smoothie. In the background, his auto investment fund is softly pinging with compounding growth notifications.
Sounds peaceful.
And then the machine projects a hologram.
The ultimate payoff of bridging that psychological gap between present and future.
Right. The hologram is an older, distinctly wiser version of MonkeyMan. The future version looks at him, smiles, and says, "Thank you. You didn't save money, you saved me."
Such a vital distinction. It recenters the purpose of wealth building from accumulating currency to preserving human well-being.
MonkeyMan just chuckles, raises his smoothie in a toast to the hologram, and whispers the final moral of the fable. Time doesn't give, wealth discipline does. And the story closes on this final directive. When your salary arrives, send half to the future, because the future always arrives faster than you think.
The author ties the narrative together beautifully there. But analyzing all of these moving parts, the steampunk aesthetic, the automated friction, the fMRI studies, the battle between present and future selves, I think there is one final critical layer to this that the fable implies, even if it doesn't state it outright.
Oh. What's the missing layer?
We keep using the phrase sending money into the future, but what if the real ultimate purpose of a salary time machine isn't just sending money forward? What if the actual goal is buying your own time back from the future?
Buying your time back.
Think about the mechanics of the law of financial gravity. When you are sending your money into the past to pay off credit cards and yesterday's decisions, you're trapped. You're mandated to keep working month after month just to break even with your own history.
You owe your future time to a bank.
Exactly. But when you automate your investments, when you bypass your amygdala and let compounding energy do the heavy lifting, you are literally purchasing future freedom. You are buying the option to sit on a balcony, sip a smoothie, and not worry about the fruit fly plagues of the world.
Because if you aren't actively buying that future time for yourself,
if you don't build this machine today, are you simply guaranteeing that your future self will be forced to sell their days to someone else? Something to think about the next time your own payday rolls around.